And now we will speak about ornaments. Ornaments are the salt of early music from the Middle Age to Mozart. Many ornaments, salts, le sel de la musique, il sale della musica. Many ornaments were written by composers, but most were added by performers. An ornament combines a lot of features. It is a way of beautifying and adorning the music, so as to avoid boredom when you have to repeat the same music many times. It can be a way of showing how good the performer is, a way of showing of his or her virtuosity. It may simply be added to give pleasure, sometimes more of the performer than to the listener, etc., etc. In the 18th century, the ornament was sometimes like a drug, with the performer being unable to avoid adding a lot of ornaments. Indeed, they frequently added too many, at which point composer reacted and began to ask performers to play only the ornaments written in the score. Nowadays, nobody in the music school dares to change or add an ornament when playing music written by Beethoven, Chopin or Brahms, but with the recorder you normally play early music, so you are authorized to add ornaments where you want. I will add ornament also in Beethoven, Chopin, Brahms, I don't know. The addition of ornaments could be a test of your performance skill. The better recorder player you are, the more you will feel authorized to add ornaments. More exhibitionist musicians add many ornaments than shy colleagues and fewer. The important thing to remember is that the addition of ornament, it is a possibility, not a duty. This is very important. The addition of ornaments is a possibility, not a duty. The first and easiest ornament that we will learn is a grace note called an acciaccatura. It is a note that you play before another, quick and legato. As example of an acciaccatura, we can use the beginning of the tune The Pink Panther by Henry Mancini, 1964. Even in the original score, in the original tune, it is written without acciaccatura, but just with the real note. But this is a good sample of acciaccatura. Note that in the 18th century, the acciaccatura was ever lower, coming from down to up. But in this piece, I don't remember after. It's a lovely piece. And in the text are written like 16ths or something else, but there are acciaccature. You can write them in this way. The acciaccatura, which is printed as a small quover with a diagonal cut, has three important characteristics. It is played before the beat, so that the ornamented note remain on the beat. For example, the first D was here, and C sharp is before. The D, C sharp, D, the D remain on the beat. Oh, there is really a tempesta. Oh. It is played legato, so it's not, but so the first note is tongued, but not the second. Normally it is played as quickly as possible and has a zero value in the total length of the notes in a bar. This is more theoretical because zero doesn't exist, but in the writing. In this bar 4, we have in the second bar, for example, we have 4 crochet, 4 quarter, okay? And the knot dell'acciaccatura doesn't make a longer bar. The bar is 4 quarter, and the knot is counted as 0. It's not 0, but it's calculated as 0. But this is true of all ornamentation. They must not be calculated as adding to the overall duration of the notes of the bar. Appoggiatura, acciaccatura, trillo. In the exercise below, I suggest that you play it first without ornaments, so as to learn and understand the melody. Then, when you are ready, you can add the acciaccatura, trying to keep the sense of the melody. It is very important that the ornaments doesn't destroy the quality of a melody. So I will play this melody without and with. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the melody, and this is with the acciaccatura. I'm sorry, F sharp. As you can see, you recognize the melody also with acciaccatura. It's a good exercise to when you have to learn an ornament. If you make, for example, if you have to learn a trill and you have a sonata in which there is just one trill, it's difficult to learn this ornament. For learning an ornament, it's better to put this ornament at each note of a scale, of arpeggio. So you take one melody and you put this ornament in each note. We can try, for example, à vous dirais-je maman. 180. You can decide that we can make acciaccatura an half tone lower. So when there is C, it will be B. When it is G, it will be F sharp. When it be A, it will be G sharp. As you can listen, the acciaccatura is not longer or slower when the written note is long. The acciaccatura is ever fast and short. Pidu, pidu. If you have an acciaccatura upon a quaver, an 8, like for example variation first, the length of the acciaccatura doesn't change of the length of the note. It's ever fast. And now I have to try to find where we were. 500. Okay. Another grace note is the appoggiatura, which in Italian means leaning. When printed, it looks similar to an acciaccatura, a small quover, but without the diagonal cut. But it's totally different in music effect. Note that in the early music, Baroque music, there is no diagonal cut. And normally there is not acciaccatura, most of them are appoggiatura. An appoggiatura is played on the beat in place of the ornamented note, which then follows, as explained below. For this reason, people find the appoggiatura more difficult than the acciaccatura. Another difference between these two grace notes is that the acciaccatura is as short as possible, but the appoggiatura normally takes half the length of all the ornamented note. If it is an even number value and more than half, it is an odd value. In the example below, you will find some appoggiatura and their transcription into normal note. So, in the second bar, there is appoggiatura E upon D, and in the lower line, you will be the transcription, and the E take half of the value of the D. So the D was a minima and E is a quarter, a crochet. So the first two bar, without ornament, with ornament, okay? I will play the first line first without appoggiatura and then with. 1, 2. Attention, bar 6. There is an appoggiatura upon a crochet quarter. So the acciaccatura will take half of a quarter, that is an 8 quover. And so it will be G and F will be 2 quovers, 2 8. With appoggiatura, 1, 2. The length of an appoggiatura is partially open to question, but before starting to play them it is necessary to know the rules. When the note is 2 or 4 or 8 beats long, the appoggiatura will take half its length. When the note is 3 beats long, it will last 2 of the 3. When it is 5 beats long, it will take 4 of the 5. When the note with the appoggiatura is followed by a rest, the appoggiatura can take the entire value of the note and the note itself can be played in the rest, which will have to be shortened. Here you will find some example of appoggiatura transcribed with normal notes. I play directly with appoggiatura. You can see in the first line the text written with ornaments, and in the second line the text translated, we can see. 1, 2, 3. I I like very much the appoggiatura, but they are not easy. And now 558, we have an appoggiatura upon a note followed by a rest. So the theory tells us that we have to put the written note in the rest, but there is also other solution. There is just a question of taste. I play directly with appoggiatura. The appoggiatura has a taste of melancholy, nostalgia, or yeah, it's a sad ornament. The pieces below contain both ornaments, the acciaccatura and the appoggiatura. Be careful because they each need a totally different way of playing. You will rarely find these ornaments written with a slur, especially in the early source, but remember that the appoggiatura and the acciaccatura are always legato. I will play first without and after with. 1, 2. There is not a masterpiece of composition, but it's just a sample. 560. 1, 2. I play before without and after with. 1, 2, 1. Okay, I hope it's been useful. Bye bye.